I'm excited to show the new SpitFire Enterprise Web Agent. Web Agent uses Google Chrome as the browser. With Web Agent, you will no longer need to have both an agent Windows application and a separate soft phone. The Web Agent is completely incorporated with the soft phone. This would be for a standalone environment. It also would remove the requirement for a VPN if you are a remote agent. Here's what the Web Agent looks like with the soft phone enabled. I'm now going to demonstrate the user experience in logging into the Web Agent. So the first thing I'm going to do is enter my username and password and log in to the Web Agent. The Select Campaign window will now be displayed, and on this window you will see the available active campaigns that the agent can log into. If the agent needs to refresh, they simply click on the refresh button and it'll go back and look if there's any new campaigns that have been added. So as an agent, I'm going to select my campaign. I'm going to click login, which is then going to log me into the campaign. I'm logged into a Quick Connect campaign, and therefore I'm presented both the voice and the data immediately on the call. We're now going to look at the different modules that make up this exciting new Web Agent. On the top left of the Web Agent, you notice the SpitFire logo, the welcome with the agent's name, and then there's the Logout login button. So in order to demonstrate, I'm going to select my disposition on my current call. I'm going to end the call. Of course, I need to go on break before I do that because I don't want to get another call. But when I hit end, you'll notice now that instead of login, the logout is available. So I simply click the logout, and that will log me out of my Web Agent. Below the welcome icon, we have the current call details, and this is where the agent can see exactly the campaign that they logged into, the list within that campaign that they have this current call from, and what type of call is this. Is it an outbound, a callback, maybe it's a manual call, or an inbound call. So that's going to show the agent the exact type of call that they're currently on. And of course the call time that they're currently on this particular call. Below the current call details, we have the individual agent statistics. So this is going to tell them live exactly how many outbound calls they've done so far. Have they taken any inbound? Have they done any manual calls? Transfers? And any of those transfers, have they been a conference? This is also going to tell them how many of their results or their dispositions have been associated with what we call a hit counter. And the hit counter is also included with this medal. So for example, if the manager sets up a friendly competition where they want to let the agent know who is in first place, who has done whatever their best result is. It's going to show the agent on the Web Agent who's in first place, second place, third place. It's also going to show callbacks. Have any of their calls been callbacks so far? It's going to show them wrap-up time, how long they've been wrapped up on the current call, current talk time, and of the calls that they've made, their average talk time. And the wonderful thing about this is that even if the agent logs out, goes on break, then they log back in, their statistics is cumulative. So they will see all the results that they've done when they logged in earlier. We're now going to look at the General Information tab. This will contain all the information that was imported from the data file by the manager. You'll notice that there's an opt-in type, and this is for a future option which will relate to SMS text messaging. Next to the General Information tab is the Custom Field tab. This is where all the additional custom fields will be displayed for the agent. And for every descriptive line, there is a response line. If the team member, if the agent needs to clear the data that's in the custom fields, and they do have the permission, you'll notice that there is a clear button that they can click on to remove any data that's in those response lines. In the center of the Web Agent, you're going to notice that there's a number of features available to the agent. The first one, which I've highlighted, is the script. So this is a script that's available for the agent to view. And the beauty of the script is that it is HTML. So if there's additional information, either from the general field or the custom fields, that data can be inserted directly into the script that the agent is reviewing. The next tab we're going to look at is the Notes field. Any information that the agent needs to add to this particular record can be typed in the Notes field, so that if the agent schedules a callback that comes back to the agent, this information will be available for them to review. The next feature after the notes is going to be the URL window. The agent can open up the URL right off their web page. After the URL, you're going to see there is a chat tab. This chat is something that is a future option to be implemented on the web agent. The next feature is the callback. And when the agent clicks on the callback, this is going to show the date and the callbacks that are pending for today. But now if the agent wanted to see future, there is a calendar, and they can click on the calendar and look up any callback scheduled for a future date. When the callback is presented, it's going to be very easy for the agent to know that, because on the top right of their screen it'll be flashing callback, and it's at this point where they have the ability to click call to make the call, or the agent can click snooze and postpone it for a later time. In this case, I'm going to click call and make the call. After the callbacks, we're going to look at the history. And when you click on the history, the agent will be able to see all their calls that they've done on this current session, all the information and the dispositions that were selected. The next tab we're going to look at is the Statistics tab. And this is a major departure from the Windows-based agent, because this information is available now to the agent on their web agent. So they can see their general information, how many outbound calls they've taken, how many were their best disposition, how many calls were transferred, any conferences, and of their calls, did they make any manual calls, inbound calls, or callbacks. It also breaks down their disposition, so they can see exactly all their dispositions they've done on the session and how many of each did they do. And then of course the time. Now this time stats was only available on the Manager console on a Windows agent, but here they get to see their wait time, their talk time, their hold time, their break time, their wrap-up time, how long they've been logged in, average wrap-up time, and average talk time. From the statistics, we're now going to move on to the notification. This notification is an alarm to tell the agent that something has happened, and in this case it shows the agent that at this date and this time the campaign was stopped. Some additional notifications that would be displayed: the campaign was stopped, the campaign was started, the list is exhausted. The next tab, which is the Softphone tab, that is a built-in softphone on the web agent, which would be used if this is a standalone environment where you have an agent who is not behind a phone system, but would have previously with the Windows-based agent required a separate softphone. On the top right of the web agent, you'll notice that there is a status screen for the agent showing that currently this agent is on wrap-up, the length of time, and who they connected to. We're now going to move to the Action Center of the web agent. So looking at the web agent Action Center, the very first button is a record button. And if the agent does have the permission to record, they would be able to click on record to start the recording, and then stop to stop the recording. If you have the recording option and it's done at a manager level on the campaign and the agent doesn't have control, then this tab would not be available. If this was an option not available, or the agent did not have the permission, when they put their mouse on the record button, it would show them that they do not have permission for that particular option. Below the recording button, there is a button that I do not have access to, and this is the SMS text messaging option. This is an exciting option that will be available in future release of the web agent. Below the SMS option, there is a hold button. Notice how it changes from a not available to available. So if the agent needs to put the client on hold, they simply click the hold button. That's going to put the client on hold. And to retrieve the client, they simply click on the stop hold and they have the client back on the line. Below the hold button is the manual dial, and it's very important, of course, the agent does need to have permission in order to be able to do manual dialing. But in order to do manual dialing, I need to go on break. So I'm going to select my break, which in this case is manual dial. I'm going to select my disposition for my current call, and then I'm going to end my call. So I'm going to just click manual dial. It will then give me an option, what campaign do I want to make my manual dial out of? So I can select which campaign. I'm going to use the same campaign that I'm on. I'm going to click OK. And now I have the manual dial box to input the phone number that I want to make the call at. And I click OK, and then it's going to make the call. Now I can continue making manual calls, and I will continue to be presented with the ability to enter the number in. But what if I don't want to make any more manual calls? I just want to go back to the campaign that I was on. All I have to do is click cancel, and it'll put me back into my campaign, and I'm ready to get the calls for the current campaign that I'm logged into. Below the manual dial button is the alternate dial. So if the team member, the agent, has the permission and they enter an alternate number in a secondary field, they then will be able to select a disposition, and then the alternate dial button will be available. When that is available, they can select which is the number that they want to make the call, click OK, and then the system will dial that alternate number for them right there and then. Below the alternate dial button is the select disposition. This is where the team member, the agent, selects which disposition that they need to for the particular call that they're on. That has to be selected prior to the agent being able to either go on break, make a manual call, or end the call. Below the disposition is the break button, and before the agent gets ready to end the call, if they are going to go on break after this call, it is important that they select a break disposition before they end the call. That tells the system that when this agent ends the call, don't try and send them another call because they're going on break. So all they have to do is click on the break button, select the type of break from the break types that are available to the agent on the screen, click OK. Then once they've entered the break disposition, they then can click end call, and now the system knows that this particular team member, this particular agent, is currently on break. If the agent needs to print, you'll notice in the Action Center there's a print button. So all they need to do is click on the print button, which will print a client sheet, which would include all the general information, the notes, as well as the custom fields. The agent's local system needs to be set up for a printer. Below the print button is the transfer option. When the agent clicks on the transfer, they're going to see the transfer window. The transfer window is going to show two types of transfers. One is transferring it to a number, the other is transferring it to an agent. I'm going to select the first one, which is transferring it to a number. So I'm going to go to select a number, and when I do that, my campaign is currently configured for a pre-configured phone numbers that I can select from. If I needed the ability to add a phone number manually into the field, then the campaign settings would have needed to be set up that way. So it's all done at a campaign level. So I'm going to select the number that I need to dial. I'm going to click call, and you'll notice that it shows dialing the number. And once it's connected, it's going to tell me that. Now, once I'm connected to the third party, I have a few options. The one is clicking transfer, which is now going to transfer the person I was originally on the call to the number that I just made the call. Or I can click three-way, which means that the client that I dialed, the person that I'm transferring to, and myself will all be on the call together in a three-way conference. In order to do the three-way conference, you need to have conference resources on the dialer. If I just transfer the call, all I need to do is then I get separated from that call and I can disposition my call and go to the next call. Or if I'm in a three-way call and I'm actually on the call, I have the ability to hang up, but I am excluded from the call, but the call will continue. So in this case, I'm going to click transfer, which will transfer me out of the call, bring me back to my web agent, and this is where I can select my disposition and end call and move on to the next call. I'm going to now demonstrate in the transfer, instead of going to transfer to a number, I'm going to select transfer to an agent. This would require there to be agents logged in as a transfer agent. Now currently it shows you that there are no transfer agents available, but if I had a transfer agent, I would simply select the transfer agent, click call. When I do transfer to an agent, I will have the same options, the one being just transferring the call to the agent, and the other being a conference where I would be part of that transfer. Below the transfer is the no call. So if the agent needs to add this record to the no call, they simply click on the no call button and a notification will display. Are you sure you want to add to the no calls? And if I click OK, that's going to put that number into the internal no call file, or cancel will take me back. But if I do select the no call disposition, it's going to automatically insert that in the disposition for me, so that when I end the call, it has already got that as my disposition. Below the no call button is the callback, and as long as the agent has the permission, they can click the callback and a callback scheduler window will appear. It's here where they set the date that they want to make the callback, the time that they want to make the callback, and also which phone number do they want to use for the callback, either the primary number in the record or a secondary number that they added. By default, it's set up to as a private callback, meaning it's going to go back to the same agent that set the callback. If for whatever reason this is not the case, the agent would uncheck private callback and it would go to the first available agent on that campaign. Once I click OK, I then get sent back to the web agent screen and the callback disposition is automatically inserted for me. So I can click End, which will then move me to the next call. Below the callback button is the wrap up. Now, if the client hangs up on the agent, it will automatically put the agent into wrap up mode, or if the agent clicks on wrap up, that will put this current call in wrap up mode so that the agent can add information, add notes, whether it's on the web agent or any additional CRM that they're using. Wrap up also allows the campaign to utilize that channel for another agent if it needs it, because it knows that this particular team member is not available, but the channel that agent was on can now be used by another agent. After the agent has selected their disposition, then the End button, which is the final button on your Action Center, that completes the call and then moves the team member on for the next call. For any more questions or to schedule a live online demonstration of this exciting new web agent, please call 1-800-859-5924.